Hello, Facebook fans, YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Friday afternoon, and we have a special show. It's the weekend special, and today our guest is John Dorr, K1AR. Hello, John.
Well, greetings and hello, everybody.
And John, it's great to have you here. You wear a lot of hats in the amateur radio community. Let's just talk for a minute about one of the things that you really spent a lot of focus on, and you just recently finished the results for the CQ Worldwide contest, which had record-breaking logs that were sent in.
Yeah, it's actually, it never ceases to amaze me how popular the CQ Worldwide has become when I think about and look at the very early days, some 75 plus years ago. We've grown into something where we have literally 5 million QSOs coming in per mode and 20,000 logs across both modes. And it just keeps growing and growing. And people seem to really enjoy operating in that one.
Yeah, they're great events. Of course, there's the RTTY, there's sideband, there's CW, and of course, WWROF has the Digi contest as well in August. So, John, let's talk for a minute about another one of your many hats, and that you are one on the board of directors at Contest University, and you've been on the board since the start of Contest University 19 years ago. Can you believe that? 19 years ago we started this.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think any of us 19 years ago imagined what CTU has become. And I think it's just incredible that every year the enthusiasm is there. We fill the room. We have some incredible speakers who have been doing contesting a really, really long time. And I think it's a real treasure to be able to have all these folks get up in front of folks who are eager to learn, are there to become better at this contesting game. And it's frankly, as a presenter and as a board member, it's kind of a privilege to just be able to be part of that and to share the experience we have with others who are eager to hear.
Well, the Dayton experience has always been a phenomenal time, going down to Dayton and meeting with our friends and meeting new friends. But this year, for the first time in 19 years, you are going to be speaking. You have actually two speaking engagements during Contest University, and you're going to kick things off at 10 after 8 in the morning, and then you also have an afternoon session. John, what is it like to share your enthusiasm, your experience, and your knowledge with people at Contest University?
Well, I think to some degree, like anything you get excited about in life, you sort of almost take for granted, the experience that you gain over those years. And the reality is sometimes I have to sort of stop and think back to where I was when I started, and just the privilege of experience is something that you just is only served with time. And it's for me, I love just talking about contesting, whether it's one-on-one with people or in front of a small group or in front of a bigger group. Hopefully my excitement and the excitement of the other professors that'll be presenting this year will be infectious. And if anything else, people walk out of the room and say, "I got to get me more of that." And that's really as much of a goal as anything.
Well, you've been contesting for almost 60 years. Am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah. My first contest, aside from field day, which of course we all know is not a contest, um, was the novice roundup in 1970. So you could do the math on that. That's a lot of years, almost 60.
Wow, that is incredible. And you've come such a long way, and the contests that you're involved with have come a long way too. what about the equipment? What about antennas? What about strategies? Some of the things that you're going to talk about at Contest University.
Yeah, well, it's it's been said quite often that contesters, in particular, as a microcosm of the ham radio group community overall, tend to have a leading edge on technology, and uh, it seems just when you think that technology is kind of peaked out, somebody comes up with the next big thing, and that it's exciting to watch that happen. And honestly, if it's almost like being a doctor. If you're not regularly reading the journals and going to night school education and all these kinds of things, but the whole endeavor will blow right past you. And when I think about where technology was when I started, computers didn't exist. There was no spotting. There were no cell phones. There was none of these things were around. And you compare that to today, where if you go to many modern stations, if you look closely, and you do have to look closely, you might find a radio in there somewhere. But there's also for a wireless sport, many of the stations that I know and see and operate from, including yours, have more wire probably than anything else.
John, what about the relationships? What about the friendships that come as part of not only Contest University, but contesting in general? Talk about those relationships, John.
Well, I guess everybody has a different experience in that regard, but I can say for me, probably the number one reason why I still do this at the level I do is because of the relationships I've built over the 50, 60 years that I've been doing it. And, if you talk to the average person on the street and ask them, how many friends do you have that you've known for 50 years that you still stay in touch with? Most people will say, well, I got a high school buddy, maybe, and, this guy was the best man at my wedding, and that's about it, right? I literally have hundreds of people like that. And if that isn't a driver to make you like something, I don't know what is, because for me, when we operate contests, whether it's at K3LR or anywhere, I sometimes measure success not just by the result of the score, but how much laughter did we have for 48 hours, and laughter we do.
Well, it is a special bond that goes on because our friends are on the air, and that radio allows us to say hello to our friends. It is a brief communication, but I want to go to the chat room real quick here, John, because some of your friends that you've had for over 50 years are in the chat room. And Peter is on W1 Delta Alpha Delta. And Chris, I used to talk to Chris in the mornings on 2 meters driving into the office. I worked the CQ Worldwide 160 CW event. I always try to participate. K3LR was my first contact. Best 73, Chris, KD8 Tango November Fox. And look, here's a rare country and a really good guy. Here's No Deer, Echo Yankee 8, Mike is in the chat room today. And he says, you're 59917. Our friend Mike Mowry, Kilo Echo 3, Juliet Papa from Greenville, Pennsylvania is there. And Chris, Kilo India 1 Papa says, looking forward to seeing all of you again at Contest University and Dayton Hamvention. I look forward to it all year. And there's Steve, November Alpha 5 Charlie. Good afternoon, guys. Helping by Elmering is just as gratifying as learning in the first place. See you both at CTU. And we've got Amy is on, November 8 Alpha Mike Yankee. John, K1AR, congrats on making 406 contacts in 1 hour, which you did with N3GJ here back in October. And Rajesh says, happy World Radio Day. And Jose is on, X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu Zulu from Mexico. Our friend Michael, Whiskey 3 Mike Lima, Japan, is on from the Pittsburgh area. And, you know, right in the middle of a de-expedition, Kilo Papa 5 is on, but here is the chairman of the Kilo Papa 5. It's Otis, November Papa 4 Golf. Where is my pizza, John? And let's see here. We have Peter says, John's correct about knowing each other for years. I remember sitting at Whiskey Alpha 1 Juliet Uniform Yankee as a freshman at Lowell Tech, now known as the University of Mass at Lowell, watching John operate the station. And our friend Karsten from Germany is on, Delta Mike 9 Echo Echo. Ham radio, the hobby with friends, worldwide, unique, over decades, never met, doesn't matter, instantly friends and trust. And what an ambassador for ham radio Karsten is. And of course, he was Ham of the Year down at Hamvention. And John, I know this year is one of the first years that you're actually going to be there for 4 days.
Yes, that's right. You know, just seeing you read off those calls, it reminds me of something that happens pretty regularly. Anytime I show a non-ham my station, which is not anything to speak of in terms of size, but you know, they instantly kind of get excited when they, you know, hear somebody speaking in Spanish or somebody far away and all that. But the thing that really lights them up is when I start to tell the stories, and the stories that involve people. When I say I talked once to King Hussein, right? Or I talked to and I'm friends with a couple rear admirals in the Navy that had very significant roles in our government and in our national defense. Just things like that, and say, oh, they're just friends of mine, right? And one of the things about ham radio that is so cool, and contesting in particular, is that it almost becomes an equalizer for people in life, right? Whether you're, you know, at doing something like driving Ubers and trying to make a living doing that, or whether you're running the Defense Department, when you get in a room together, all of a sudden you're kind of equal, right? You talk about, hey, I worked this guy. Did you work him? And so forth.
It is a special bond that we have, and we are so fortunate to have this great hobby, amateur radio, and the sport of contesting as well. So, you know, John, Contest University is going to be extra special this year because you will be a part of it. You will be actually, you're going to be on the live stream as well. So even if you can't make it to Contest University, you'll be able to see John K1AR there. And, you know, if you're thinking about going to Contest University, you need to go ahead and get signed up. Go to contestuniversity.com. Website shows you all the stuff, and it's real easy to get registered, and you can have a super day on the Thursday before Hamvention. And I do want to go back to the chat room for just a second. We've got, you know, the sun just came up at Saturday morning in Australia. And good morning from Melbourne. It's Chris, Victor Kilo 3 Fox Yankee. And Tim, K5 Tango Golf Sierra, also known as Guy. He is part of the DX Engineering sales team. And Guy, great to have you on. John, thank you so much for coming on today and talking about Contest University and your background. And we're so very excited that you'll be presenting this year at CTU.
Thanks, Tim. I'm really looking forward to seeing many of you out at Dayton. It's going to be another great year, another great show, and can't wait. We'll see you guys there.
All right. And thanks to all of you for watching today. I hope you had fun. And we'll see you at Contest University down in Dayton. Until next time, 73 from DX Engineering.